They went back to work this past Wednesday night on AEW television. Brian, did you unfortunately see some of the things that went on?
I believe I saw the entirety of the show.
Well, again, I don't know. If you could just, you know what? AEW is the first television program I've ever seen in the wrestling business where you could take half of it and put a highlight reel together and it'd be the greatest show you've ever seen. You could take the other half and put it together. It'd be the biggest fucking joke that you've ever looked at in your life. Here's a question for you, though. With all the talk that Tony's done about the forbidden door this past week, I'm just wondering, if the invisible hand goes through the forbidden door without wearing a glove, does it need to get a blood test? Just a question I had. Anyway, let's talk about this program real quick. Certain things deserve some time, a lot more doesn't. The opening segment, they try to do the big thing for MJF. Wardlow to the ring, setting up the cardboard cutouts of MJF beating Punk last week. And they had old George Hamilton Roberts intro FTR and Tully and Spears. Spears comes out looking silly, and it makes it funny. He's got a jacket on with no fucking shirt and the skull cap on, carrying the chair, and I don't know. But anyway, finally, they wind up the big intro for MJF, and they have Justin Roberts read that whole thing, and it was some good stuff in there. And he comes out being carried on a throne like Lawler in Memphis coming into the Coliseum. And did you see the guys carrying him were trying real hard not to fucking trip and fall? And they did that with Lawler in the WWF as a spot one time. It wasn't real, but these guys had to go down a ramp. So it looked like they were suffering. And do we have was that just a random throne girl that he was making out with like two anteaters, or is that somebody that he's involved with? Or did she just decide to go for it?
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone talk about that or any confirmation, but I have to figure it may be someone he knows at a minimum.
But anyway, it was 7 minutes into the show before MJF finally spoke, but it's better than some of the matches, so they're still teasing the thing with Wardlow. He went to thank the person who made his victory over Punk possible, and it was Spears, not Wardlow. And then they showed a video of MJF's new shirt on the screen, and I guess they're missing Keith Mitchell already because once they got the video up on the screen, then they couldn't fucking get the camera shot back. But finally, MJF's cutting the promo. He's bragging, and out comes Punk. No music. He's serious. He's on the stage. Tony Schiavone goes over to him. And I got to be honest, and you know how much I like MJF. But Punk picked this up when he started talking because it wasn't really headed anywhere. There was a lot of... They put the production over the content. We were 10 minutes into the show or better, and all we'd seen is the glorious entrances and the heels being cocky, and did you feel like that it wasn't really kicking in until Punk came in and started picking up the pace a bit?
You needed Punk to come in, and I thought it certainly picked up the pace, and he has a real intensity that's great, and it took a while, and I agree with you 100% about Spears. We'll get into Tully in a little bit. And the other thing is Justin Roberts. I've heard him announce wrestlers' deaths, I think. And it wasn't as painful as it was for him to do this. It was a little over the top, I think, in some of those elements.
So Punk brings out Darby and Sting, and they've all three got the black baseball bats, and Punk wants a rematch with MJF because he won illegally, of course, but then basically they come out with this is again back and forth, and it took a while. Punk is daring Wardlow to drop the group. You need to subsist on your own. They're just taking advantage of you. And, Punk wants MJF, but Punk also wants Wardlow, a rematch with him. And then Dax steps in and he wants a rematch because they're still pissed that they got beaten by Darby and Sting. I think he just wants a rematch because he wants to wrestle on TV once in a blue moon. And then Punk pitches the idea of the three of them against FTR and MJF won't do that. And he offers FTR versus Punk and any partner except for Sting and Darby. And if the Punk and his partner besides Sting and Darby win over FTR, then he gets a rematch with. The best thing about this was that the opening segment sets up a match later on, and we've been bitching about that, right?
Exactly.
So they did that, but it was confusing to get there because everybody wants something else. And is anybody going to be sitting there taking notes like I am? Or were they just a little confused?
And at the end, we'll talk about the ratings, but I believe the ratings were up this week. And again,
yes.
You show Punk in the opening segment. What have we always said? Then he goes away. Then you never see Punk again. Showed him in the opening segment. It ran a little long, but they had a lot of things that they clearly were trying to get into this one segment, including the Wardlow tease. But it made you realize that Punk and FTR were going to be on later in the show, and who's his partner going to be. So in that sense, they did something right.
Well, and also, and we'll talk about the ratings afterwards. Remind me of that. Don't let me cut that off. But also they had the big reveal that they had teased. And there was curiosity about that because there's so many people it could be. Because the WWE keeps fucking up and giving their opposition every bit of talent that they need. So all these things, that's why this segment was not bad. And we could have been looking at the Puddin' Gang. So that's definitely a plus. I would have loved to have this 15-minute segment done in 8 or 9, I think, is the only thing that I had a problem with. But anyway, so they've set up what I thought was the main event. Then I realized, oh, wait, they got the Texas Death Match. So at least that match is later on in the program. We get to see FTR, we get to see Punk, and we get whoever. So now Tony Schiavone is in the back again. They've either got 16 interviewers or poor Tony is everywhere. And he's never looks out of breath or disheveled. He's in the back with Andre Oleo, or AKA Mushmouth. I've been binging that Cosby documentary too now that you put me onto that. And I loved Fat Albert when I was a kid, but Mushmouth was my favorite. Anyway, why are they portraying Andre as a complete blithering simpleton? I understand he can't speak English or apparently Spanish because nobody can understand what the fuck he's saying. But we haven't established that he has the IQ of a fucking baked potato. And he's still talking about the kid that works for Sting. And they've told him, and listening to Andre try to talk is like enduring a root canal. And he's still wanting to buy Darby from Sting or something like that. And then we come to Wardlow's match. And this time the opposition has stepped up a little bit. He gets the Baker, formerly the partner of the Butcher. We never see the Butcher anymore. So now the Baker had to go it alone. And this was a little bit longer match, went through a break. And the Baker got him a little offense in, and then he got powerbombed 4 times. And then Spears comes in. And do you think they planned it like this, or do you think they stole our first review? Remember the first time Wardlow beat somebody with the power bombs, put his foot on him, and then I said, and then Spears came in and wore the guy out with a chair and stole all the spotlight. They didn't say that then, but then ever since he's done it, the announcers say, he's stealing his spotlight. So is that the way they meant it to be, or are they stealing our review of what it actually looked like?
Well, they're certainly listening. I'll put it that way.
Well, they're listening. They're just not heeding. So the next big segment, let's talk about this for a second. A meeting with the dinner circle. Jericho's hot because Santana and Ortiz disrespected him, wouldn't tag him in their match a week or 2 ago. He's called a mandatory team meeting. There's Sammy's out there. There's Jake Hager's out there. And they and Jericho are the ridiculous faux biker gang outfits with the pleather vests with somebody flipping a bird and on a patch on one of them. And Hager's wearing a biker gang pleather vest with high water sweatpants. I don't know, what is this, a giant midlife crisis for Jericho that everybody's been drug into?
Yes, although we could argue about when it actually started. I think it's been going on for a long time.
But does he think they look like the Hells Angels or what? They look ridiculous.
They don't look as ridiculous as he does.
I don't know. Go back and look at Hager's pants.
Well, Hager's been dressing like a golf dad since episode 1 of Dynamite.
Yep, he's wearing the pants meant for a person a foot shorter than he was. What was that all about? Anyway, Santana and Ortiz come out, and Santana did a great job. Told Jericho he's the one that's been holding him down, that he only cares about himself. They don't want to play second fiddle anymore. It was a babyface. Even though Jericho is talking to them like they're the heels and he's the babyface, they're actually the babyfaces. They're in the right. The things that they are saying are true. And the people want, apparently, them to fuck off out of the dinner circle. So, anyway, Santana cut a good promo, and he told Jericho to thank Ortiz for talking him out of dropping him a long time ago because they want to be the tag team champions. Jericho got in, hey, I'm the influencer, because GFY worked out so well for him. He's just fucking... Moxley came in and wiped his fucking ass on Jericho's new trademark before Jericho was even seen on that program. So now he's trademarking the influencer. And Jericho tries to tell Santana and Ortiz all the things that he's done for them. They're the ones that lost to the Young Bucks. You're trying to get a tag team over, so you want to remind people that they got beat by 2 middle schoolers. And he says maybe he invited the wrong people from LAX. Should have been Homicide and Hernandez. And Santana snatches him by the throat. And then Sammy breaks it up. You want to know what I wrote right then, Brian?
No. Oh, yes, I do want to know what you wrote right then.
You stooged yourself.
No, I actually do want to know.
No, you don't. We know that now, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I wrote, can this please fucking go somewhere?
Yeah.
So then Sammy tried to be the voice of reason, and finally he took off his vest and said, unless they figure all this shit out, he had to get the word shit in, he's quitting and he walks off. Now Ortiz is on Jericho defending Eddie Kingston. And he says, let me give a little history lesson. And I wrote, oh, God, don't. How far are you going to go back? But the history lesson he gave was a challenge for a tag team match next week, Santana and Ortiz against Jericho and Hager. And Jericho agrees to it, and then he threatens he's going to have to make changes. Hopefully they can dissolve this past its expiration date group so that the people in it besides Jericho can have a chance to prosper a little bit. I think this was the longest promo segment ever held, and Santana was very good. What'd you think?
I thought Santana was excellent. And we've been saying for a long time that it looks like he's been working out. He looks like a serious athlete. Whenever he talks briefly, it's good. We actually got to hear him here, and he sounded like a legit guy. You believed him. And even little things like turning to the camera when Jericho said something outrageous, almost like he had to laugh and he wanted to look at the audience like, you got to be seeing this too. This is ridiculous. You know, there are elements of this, and it did run long. There are elements of this, though, that I thought were maybe the best Chris Jericho work in a while. Because we know Chris Jericho is always looking for a way to get himself over. And boy, a biker vest and Botox certainly don't go well together. But I think Chris Jericho may have seen some of the reaction Cody's getting and how they're pussyfooting around. He's like, oh, I'm going to take this and go all the way with it. I'm completely out of touch. And I'll show you how out of touch I am. I haven't held anyone back. We'll see where this goes. But for the first time in a while, I cared about Chris Jericho in this promo. Now, we'll see if it lasts. I don't think it will. But Santana and Ortiz were serious. They felt like legit guys that you could meet. Jericho was still acting like he was on Raw. And that's one of the big problems. And he got away with it a lot in early AEW because people were just excited to have a star. And he was doing good work, primarily. But when you see Santana and Ortiz, previously when you've seen a Kingston a Punk, Danielson. There are guys that seem like they're talking from the heart. And we know they're not. It's wrestling. I mean, it may be elements of what they're saying that's true, but it's wrestling. Jericho seems like he's on Monday Night Raw.
Should they just fold the tent on Jake Hager?
What value does he really bring? That's the question. While they're looking at contracts to renew and people they're going to be bringing back, objectively, and I don't know the guy, so I really can't say anything bad about him personally. I'm just looking at him as someone who's seen his body of work. What value does Jake Hager bring to AEW for what you have to think is a substantial contract? What value is there? Would anyone pay? Forget about that. There are no house shows. Is anyone going to be interested in a Jake Hager main event on a show? That's the question.
Well, and that's when he first came in, when they first started, they tried to put him over as the big MMA fighter, a big guy. He had the advantage of having some wins on television that most guys they bring in don't get at the start. They get them a year and a half later when it's too late. And since then, what the fuck has he done? And it's not like he looked great. Remember, we said, you would think if he was going to get better, as long as he's been doing it, he'd be there by now. But now he just stands around and with that fucking mooch face on. And I know Dutch Mantel used to manage him in the WWE. I think of a Dutch Mantel line when I think of Jake Hager. He couldn't draw you a deep breath. And now he's just hanging around. Anyway, then we come to Tony back in the parking lot. I know these are pre-taped, but some of these days, when I got more time on my hands, I got to put the stopwatch on how long it takes, allegedly, Tony Schiavone to get from the desk at ringside out in the parking lot just to see what they're doing. But he's with Roppongi Vice. Apparently Trent, no last name, and now no hair.
Well, he has a last name now. They got the rights to the last name.
What name?
Trent Beretta.
How do you need to get rights to that?
Well, he was Trent Beretta, and then they just called him Trent because they lost the ability to call him Beretta. I think it was a New Japan thing, maybe. And now that they're in good with New Japan, they call him Trent Beretta again.
Are you fucking kidding?
I could be wrong. Someone will jump in.
New Japan gave a shit that they used the guy's last name on American television. And when none of the fans in America give a shit about the guy to begin with. Anyway, Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero are apparently Roppongi Vice in Japan. So they actually pitched, here's Tony Schiavone with Roppongi Vice. Now, I know I don't watch the Puddin' Gang, so I don't ever watch Trent. I watched a Rocky Romero match. He's very good until they put him in the Puddin' Gang. But have they been talking about Roppongi Vice that anybody in America that's not a Japanese fetishist would know that that's a thing?
If you are not someone who watches New Japan or has watched it in the past, and you only watch AEW, you may have heard a brief mention in passing by Excalibur on commentary, but you would have no idea who they are, and also why it's a different tag team and not the best friends that you're seeing Trent with.
Yes. And of course, then all the AEW apologists are going, well, you got to watch YouTube. Well, fuck you. If it's not important enough to put on the real television program, it's not important. So they're doing an interview when the Hardley Boys walk in and start a fake fight by telling them, well, I guess it's time now for us to start a fight. They actually say that. And as they start the fight, Adam Cole comes in from behind and nut shots one of the Roppongis. And then the Hardley Boys get the other one to do their fake knee thing. What do they call it? The whatever trigger. Who stole the trigger? Was it Olivier stole his V trigger from their knee trigger, or they stole their knee trigger from his V trigger, or why is everybody triggered?
I don't know, but they're certainly triggered.
Well, it looks as phony as a football bat. And then a guy in a leather jacket walks in with his back to the camera and joins in the fight and grabs, I think it was Trent, and threw him headfirst into the truck in the parking lot. And I'm like, who the fuck? And they say, it's also the guy's back is to the camera. And I think it was excrement said, it's Jay White. and waited for, I guess, trumpets from heaven to blow and the gates to open. Hallelujah. Jay White. Has the name Jay White been mentioned on this television program ever?
Never that I'm aware of.
Has Jay White, to your knowledge, ever wrestled in the United States of America? I've never seen a match of his. I know he wrestles for New Japan. But has anybody in this country ever even heard of him? And it's not even like the Roppongi Vice. At least we've seen these two chuckle fucks on the TV program before. This is a brand new guy that's never wrestled in this company, possibly never wrestled in this country. And they say his name like John Cena just walked in. And everybody would know, oh my God, it's Jay White. The world's about to change. No, it's not. It's like saying, hey, there's Barney Google. What? I was starting to be at my wit's end. Apparently, this guy's a big deal in New Japan, too, right?
Well, I believe so, and I've heard good things about him, but when they debut him in a skit with the Young Bucks, it tells me exactly how he's going to be used. There's now a track record of guys coming in, they do something with the Young Bucks, and next thing you know, you don't want to watch him anymore.
You've heard good things about him. Have you ever seen him wrestle?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Well, but here's the thing. Before we take to heart the good things we've heard, you know who says most of the good things about people that wrestle in Japan, and then you know the people who parrot the things that guy says. So I got to see this guy for myself before I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's worth a shit. So we'll find out, apparently, because now he's here. Meanwhile, speaking of Jays, Jay Lethal on TV does a job and disappears again, but we get Jay fucking White, whoever that may be.
To make a quick correction from earlier, apparently Trent Barretta was the name he used in WWE and Florida Championship Wrestling, but with a different spelling. So when he went to AEW, he just used Trent. It wasn't New Japan, it was a WWE trademark issue. He has since, I believe, received the trademark for Barretta, spelled Beretta.
I bet you he could have made an easy deal with the WWE. They would have allowed him to use the name if he would have just not told anybody he ever worked for them when his mother pulls up with him in the minivan. All right, but we'll find out about old Jay White, see if he's worth a shit or if it's another one of Uncle Dave's fucking fever dreams and Welsh rarebit fucking nightmares. But then came the big reveal, Brian. Came the big reveal. Isaiah Cassidy was to face the debuting talent that they'd been milking. That's, I think, along with, as you may, Punk wrestling and et cetera, what got them this number, the curiosity factor. Because the one thing they do great debuts, shocking debuts of stars in AEW. They just then usually do the wrong thing with them from the start, and people are more interested in them the first time they see them than they are each succeeding time after that. However, I think this one may be different. Before I talk about the match, I will just say that this was Isaiah Cassidy, and his opponent was revealed to be Keith Lee, old Bearcat Lee. And I think this is without doubt the best debut match in the history of AEW. They did it right for once. I'm not sure if I could say they. Maybe it was all Keith Lee. I don't know. I don't know this guy. But the Punk surprise debut and interview was obviously the big debut. But as far as a match, a first match for a new talent coming into AEW, this is the only time that I can think of in the past 2.5 years where they got it absolutely perfect. This was stunning. This was exactly what it should have been. This is how you get over. Not only that, but Keith Lee obviously feels like the shackles are off. Feels like he's into this. there was a world of difference in the way he carried himself and the way he did his shit from when we saw him on WWE television. He was confident. He was in control. He was dominant physically. Even when he sold, it was only for a moment. He came right back. He did all of his stuff. He showed the people what he could do. And he won convincingly, dominantly. That's the way. I don't care whether it's a new guy that nobody's ever seen before or whether it's a big star coming from another company. That's the way you make a fucking debut when you're a wrestler in a match. It was perfect. They showed it, the opening Beal. As soon as he grabbed old Isaiah Cassidy and gave him that Beal across the ring, I've been watching wrestling for 50 years now. I've never seen a Beal like that. Part of it was Cassidy. Obviously, he's a hell of an athlete, but they nailed it. Then they have Keith Lee do the leapfrog in the crossbody, then the slingshot crossbody. But this wasn't just goofy spots or even impressive spots nailed together. He toyed with Cassidy. He had the attitude. He'd lay his big bear paws on him. Or he'd give it that body block through the ropes. Hardy's at ringside, and they did a little ha-ha with that. They had Matt Hardy get so disgusted with Cassidy's lack of success that he climbs over the rail and leaves through the crowd. Those Hardy boys never learned the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So then Mark Quinn tried to interfere, and he tried to pull the leg, and Keith Lee kicked him off. And that was an opening where Cassidy was supposed to do a springboard into a head snap on the ropes, but he missed it. He missed Keith Lee's head, missed something that big. But Keith Lee barely reacted. The hands got on him, so he kind of sold it like it was a flying face rake. And Lee just gets down to the floor off the apron, still on his feet, and is like selling his face like, what the fuck? And that way Cassidy hit him with a dive, and he went down. But as soon as he gets back in the ring, he's bear pawing Cassidy all the way across the ring and then swatted him down, hit him with a pop-up into a fireman's carry, and turned that into a turnaround power slam. 1, 2, 3, boom. And he gets his hands in the air, and then the heels attack him. Of course, they have to. And I will say the afterbirth was not necessary, but at least they didn't fuck it up. But the heels attack him, and he rolls to the floor, and one does a dive, and he catches that guy and drops him on the floor. The other does a dive, and he catches that guy upside down and power bombs him onto the guy on the floor. And like I said, the afterbirth wasn't really necessary. And the shit-sniffing look that Keith Lee gets old because he does it a lot, and it's a little smug for a babyface, and they're going to be cheering the fuck out of him for a while unless they fuck this up, so he is a babyface. So besides the smug, shit-sniffing look, and the afterbirth wasn't really necessary, but he did it well, this was fantastic. It's the first time I can remember on this television program that a star came in and won convincingly and looked like a world beater and did his shit when you first see him. It's always the opposite. Everybody comes in and gets beat, and you never see them, and then 6 months or a year later, they start beating job guys. It's so somebody has either taken an interest in Keith Lee that Tony Khan will listen to, and they've told Tony how not to fuck this up, or perhaps it's Keith Lee himself, and he's smarter than we ever gave him credit for because of the environment he was in over in the other fucking pasture that wouldn't let him be himself and put him in a tennis skirt. I was amazed. I was smiling. I was popping. I said, this is perfect. This is fucking perfect. What'd you think?
I loved it. I also think, this is a guy that fits in really well with AEW in terms of look because he looked gigantic in the ring.
Yeah.
In WWE, he was clearly a big guy, but whether it's other big guys there or the size of the ring or whatever, didn't look as big. He looked like a big fucking guy here. I will say, once Matt Hardy left, which was a good thing, I've never been more sold on the potential for a heel Private Party as I was after that point of the match, just watching them be heels. Try to trip Keith Lee, try to do this and that. I've never been as impressed with Isaiah Cassidy as I was. Usually it's always about Mark Quinn. I personally wouldn't have had it go as long as it did, and I wouldn't have had them get much of anything on Keith Lee, and I probably wouldn't have done the afterbirth. But, you know, everyone does it their own way, but an exciting debut, and here's a guy I want to see more of. So I hope they don't mess this up. Really, really good.
I didn't mind the length because it wasn't going 100 miles an hour and they weren't doing too much. When they have these matches go long and they're so competitive with the star you're trying to put over against whoever the fuck, and the guy's, you know, giving him all he can handle, that's ridiculous. In this case, I would have had, especially the way they did it, because there's a heel and a babyface clearly. The heels can cheat and distract, and you can get the guy down just so that he can come back out from under it. And that was part of the match, is they'd get him down for a second, but he'd come back down from under, or come back out from under it, because they couldn't keep him down. That was, I didn't mind that part of the match. Like I said, I agree with the afterbirths a little much. They've always got to put something on there, a hat on a hat. But yeah, this, if they don't screw Keith Lee up now, certainly
they can make Adam Cole his manager.
Well, I was about to say maybe there's a spot for Adam Cole where he can redeem himself. And I was about to say, certainly to God, we will never see Keith Lee versus Pockets. One would have to think. They're that smart, aren't they?
I would hope so, but you never know. Of course, it seems they're both baby faces, so that may help. But it does say something. Adam Cole and Keith Lee, just looking at debuts. Adam Cole debuted, and then they immediately upstaged him with another debut. And for me, at least, he's never recovered, and the work has gone downhill since. Keith Lee, they debuted, and he came across like a bigger star than he ever was in WWE in one match.
Yes. And they didn't upstage him. And they didn't have any, well, whoever Jay White is wandered out earlier, but that's not upstaging this guy. Everybody knows Keith Lee because they've been watching him on television, and we're hoping he'd show up.
And you know what? Modern wrestling right now, who's the babyface that can get over the most? At least short term, and then you got to do something with it? The guy that the fans think WWE screwed over.
Yeah.
That's the guy they want to support. So if they don't mess this up, they could really do something special with Keith Lee here.
Why were the people going apeshit for Ruby Soho? Because the WWE screwed her over. And then they dropped the ball on that. Everybody that comes from the WWE, it's not the people in the WWE that the fans don't like. They're the top guys. It's the people that they did like that the WWE wouldn't use, then fucked around and fired. And now they're naturally over. They're sympathetic figures. All you got to do is not fuck it up, which is why they've been fucking most of them up. But Keith Lee, and remember I had him when we did the WWE roster a long time ago. I said, who would be the top 10 guys? I think I had him in there, and that's when they fired him. And then I said, well, maybe Odyssey Jones can take his place. And the problems I've seen potential in Keith Lee from the time we started watching him on NXT. But remember, every time we would see him, it seemed like he got less over. It was less special. Was he hamstrung? Was he just miserable being there? And because this was a completely different person, the personality and the attitude that he had.
The style of match. Again, he's not doing an NXT WWE style of match either.
Yeah, because he was trying to do shit and allowing people to do shit to him over there. The guy was 150 pounds lighter than he was taking bumps. So this was a complete transformation. And now I'm hoping, are we going to hear different interviews, or is he still going to sound like Fraser Crane? I mean, I know he's got that element. That's the way he talks, kind of haughty like that. But
hello there. Greetings and salutation.
Yeah.
I get a kick out of it when I think about it.
I'm just hoping that that's something that Vince and somebody else over there had got a kick out of and told him to do, and he will now sound like a normal fucking adult person and occasionally get mad and have the Hulk smash in his fucking bass in his voice. We'll find out, but he hadn't done a promo yet, but the match was tremendous. And I'll tell you what, the way he's power slamming those guys and splashing them and cross-bodying them and everything, they're not falling on a mattress there. That's a big old boy to come down on top of you. Boy, I tell you what, though, I'm glad that I got the WWE rings redone years ago, or elsewise he could be making some pancakes. It's not like falling in, for example, a Helix mattress or one of these fine Allform sofas.
Yeah.
It's not soft and comfortable like that. I'll tell you what, folks, with the Helix Allform sofas, you can fall onto these things and it's just like falling into a cloud. Even if a 350-pound beast was to jump on you, they just bounce right off because Helix has put the same amount of care and time and premium materials into these sofas and chairs that they make as they do the mattresses. And it's the same deal. You don't have to go to a store. You don't have to look at a bunch of stuff that everybody's raggedy, stinky old ass has already sat on, and you don't have to wait months for it to come after you buy it. All you've got to do is go online to Allform, ALLFORM.com, allform.com, and you can look at this fine merchandise because you've heard us rave about the Helix mattresses, the Allform sofas and chairs, same way. You can pick the fabric, which is spill and stain and scratch resistant. You can pick the color of the legs, the sofa size, the shape. They've got armchairs and love seats. And they've even got a special blowjob bench to go along with the love seat.
No, they don't.
No, they don't? Oh, that's another
Not
company.
officially. Not officially.
Not officially, no. But they've got armchairs and love seats all the way up to an 8-seat sectional. So there's something for everybody, and you can start small and buy more additions if you want your sofa to grow and change when you move. Or like you have just done, you've moved into San Simeon and you've got an Echo. You got to fill the room up with... You now have a 72-seat Allform sofa, don't you?
There are 5 seats, I believe, on my Allform sofa.
Well, Allform sofa? Well, so you say. Allform sofas are also delivered directly to your home with fast, free shipping. And they'll bring it right to your door. And then, boom, you just set it up. And you know, again, Brian, from your experience, it's easy. It doesn't take any tools. And finally, you get the thing all set up there in your house. And if you don't like it, you don't need to worry about it because you get 100 days to decide if you want to keep it after you get it set up in the house. That's more than 3 months. And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up for free and give you a full refund. No need to do what I usually do. And if I buy something and it's not right, I just take it out back and set it on fucking fire. But Allform wants to do their part and offers exclusive discounts for teachers, students, military, and first responders. And they also offer financing and flexible payment plans. And a forever warranty. Folks, that's forever. So in your wills, hand down from generation to generation, the reminder that in 300 years after nuclear fire showers, if anything goes wrong with this couch, your descendants can get the money back.
I am not exactly sure if that's how it works.
It's a forever warranty. It says literally forever. In 300 years, that's still part of forever. So keep these things jotted down, folks. Your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren may need them. Anyway, to find your perfect sofa, check out allform.com/JCE because Allform is offering 20% off all the orders for our listeners at allform.com/JCE. 20% off. What's 20% off a giant couch like this? That works into a lot of money.
1 seat. 20% off a giant couch like this.
Once, yeah, okay. Allform. All righty then. Next on the AEW parade was the match that we had been waiting for. FTR against Punk and a mystery partner. And I wrote, it's not the main event. And I forgot the Texas Death Match is the main event. But at least we're going to see who the partner is, and they're doing it at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. So that was smart for the ratings. That's probably why they kept people. So anyway, we find out who Punk's partner is. Like Mussolini with Moxley. It's Moxley. So, all right, I said, okay, this is going to be the ultimate challenge. Can FTR and CM Punk make this guy have a wrestling match? That was the challenge. And they gave this one time, and I'm not going to go through every single high point and spot and twist and turn and change in momentum, but Dax and Punk started, and they wrestled. One tackle, drop down, reverse hip toss, kickoff, headlock, takeover, head scissors, kick out. Wrestling. And then Cash comes in. One tackle, drop down, hip toss, arm drag, more wrestling. I'm loving it. And then Moxley comes in, and he does that weird shoulder dipping, swerving body language. He looks like he's twisting in the wind.
Bez from Happy Mondays, yes.
I don't know that one. But he locked up with Dax, and they actually did some wrestling. It was headlock, takeover, one tackle, drop down, scoop slam, and then big kick, and then another big kick, and another big kick. He's sitting Dax there, and he's just hitting the ropes and kicking him in the chest. I guess he's trying. And the Punk and Moxley worked well together. He said Punk did a backslap tag. Now I know what it's like when a child of mine brings home a bad report card. The disappointment. FTR did a little heat spot on Punk's leg and started heat, and they work like heels, and Punk's selling his ass off, but it was just a false set of heat because they wanted to give Moxley a comeback and then get the heat on him so Punk could have the last comeback. But as a result, they only got like 1 minute of heat on Punk's leg. And then when he tagged Moxley, Moxley made a comeback, but there wasn't that much reaction because the heat was so short. And then they go into a four-way, and both the baby faces did dives, and they all fell down. They went to the break. Somehow, during the break, well, I don't say somehow, they got out there, but during the break, they replayed it on the other side. FTR picks Moxley up and double belly-to-back suplexes him through a table at ringside onto the concrete floor as a heat spot. The referee is counting, and he pops up at 9 and rolls in. He beats the count back in, but they start the heat on this fucking guy in a regular tag match by double suplexing him through a table on the concrete. So now he can sell. Moxley is hopeless. If it was FTR's idea, say, hey, we'll start the heat on you by giving you a double back suplex through a table onto the fucking floor. If he had any idea of what the wrestling business was, he would have said, are you out of your mind? Cut me off with a knee to the back and let me fucking sell. But it's all got to be the garbage, indie, modern, outlaw, goofy wrestling. Anyway, at one point, I thought they were going to do, and they still may come back to it, I thought they were going to do some kind of turn with Moxley and Punk because Moxley atomic dropped Dax, but Dax reached back. I think that's where he blind tagged, right? And then, but he suplexed Cash and went to the corner for a tag, but Punk wasn't there because he'd been distracted and then nailed off the apron by Dax. So I thought, oh, Moxley's going for the tag. Punk's not there. There's going to be, but they never mentioned it again. Did you see FTR give Moxley the Vegematic?
Yes.
Just barely. I love you, boys, Dax and Cash. I know you watch the tapes, but There's a reason why that it looked so good when the Midnight Express did it, and one of those reasons was Stan Lane's incredibly deep squat. His legs were fucking powerful, and limber, and he could do a deep squat. Also, Moxley's legs were in the wrong place, guys. If you want to go back and look at the tape while I'm saying this is all the listeners out there, just talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'm talking to FTR. When you pick Moxley up for the bear hug to squat down and lean him out, his legs went around your back. I've mentioned this before. That's the wrong place. You need to have the guy up in a bear hug like you're going to hold him there for a while, the old spot where you hold the guy there, and he puts his shins, folds them up and puts them on your thighs. Once you got the guy in the bear hug and his shins are folded up on your thighs, then you squat down as low as you can and lean the guy straight out. And that's why Stan's deep squat came in handy, because then when Dax would come off with the leg drop, all Cash has to do is let go and Moxley lands flat, falls right out of his arms, because Moxley's legs were around Cash's back. And then Cash didn't just drop him flat, but stumbled forward onto his knees because he doesn't have that deep squat. It kind of kerflucked up there. And Cash should have been a couple of feet farther out and toward his back about a foot. So when Dax comes straight off, he's going straight with the leg drop toward the opposite turnbuckle, because that's that straight line. That's when you know if you try to jump off with a leg drop a little bit toward the left side, you're getting off and the momentum's changing. Does this make any sense verbally to you, Brian Last?
Absolutely. This is great stuff. I love when you give advice.
So, well, it's not advice. I invented the goddamn thing. It's not advice. It's just telling you. This is not a fucking debatable thing. This is how you do the fucking thing, and that's how it works out. Instead, like I said, legs around the back. It brought both of them forward. Cash stumbled, positioning, whatever, but they were trying. Then Dax missed the elbow off the top rope, and Moxley clotheslined Cash and hit a shitty hot tag because the heels were tagging too almost simultaneously. He didn't lay there and sell and let the fucking heels tag, so the fresh heel comes in and tries to go after him, and then he evades that guy, and then both the heels are in when he dives and tags Punk so that Punk can come in, and both the heels are ready to feed. But it was a simultaneous tag, and I give up on hot tags. The people popped anyway because it was Punk, and this set of heat had lasted a while, but I'm tired of trying to advise people on how to do a hot tag when nobody is getting it anymore. And it's fucking ridiculous. Having said that, Punk made a comeback while still selling his leg from the brief heat from earlier, and it was great. Because now we know why the guy's not just 100% now. And then they even did a doomsday device, Punk and Moxley, which it was a 2 count, but they got it in. Here's another thing. Cash gives Moxley a spinning DDT on the floor. And he's going to be back up in a second. You can't kill Moxley. They hit Punk with the bell and a brainbuster and got a 2 count. Then they got more heat on Punk and hit the big rig on him, but Moxley saved. Then everybody's selling. And we got the double 1-2 in the ring with all 4 guys. This has been a good tag match, except for the picadillos that I've just picked out. This is far and away one of Moxley's best matches he's ever had, because they weren't fighting on the floor. There wasn't all the goddamn plunder in the ring. He was actually wrestling. And they gave him time so that they could do what they need to do without rushing through it. And there was no trampoline business going on. I'm picking at nits because if it was the grade schoolers and the pudding gang out there, I wouldn't give a shit because they're hopeless. But since these guys, except for Moxley, are all top fucking guys and some of the best in the world at what they do, I'm giving constructive criticism. So it was a great match up to that point, especially for AEW, because there was more professionalism than normal. And then everything started going sideways when poor Tully got in the ring.
Ooh.
Because Punk gets a submission on Cash, and the referee, Aubrey, is with the other 2 guys. And Tully rolls in, takes his suit jacket off, and starts swinging and swatting Punk with his suit jacket. He didn't just do it once to distract him. He does it several times. And I'm at a loss. If Punk has a submission hold on my guy, the referee's back is turned and the referee's busy with the other people in the match, and I'm the manager, wouldn't I come in and haul off and football kick Punk straight in the face to get him to let go of my fucking guy? Or would I take off my jacket and swat him in the head with it? I don't know what this was supposed to be, because, yes, Punk let go of the hold and stood up, and there Aubrey turns around, and there's Aubrey is standing there staring at Tully in the ring, staring at Punk. So why did they distract the referee for her to just turn around and see the manager still in the ring? And then Punk goes to pick Tully up Tully swings, Punk blocks a punch, and goes to pick him up in the fireman's carry for the GTS. But did you see what went wrong?
I'm sure you could pick it apart from what actually went wrong, but I saw what happened where he shouldn't have, they shouldn't have done this to begin with, but whatever.
Well, what happened was when Punk blocked the punch and went to fireman's carry Tully and pick him up for the go to sleep, Tully has not been picked up in a while, and he was and you guys, you can all go back and watch the video. This is exactly what it was. Tully hadn't been picked up in a while. I'm sure he was eager to show that he still got it. When Punk bent over, Tully jumped before Punk was lifting. So what the effect that has, and you can see this on the video, is that, and I don't care how strong you are, when you're off balance, this is going to happen. I've seen this happen to the Road Warriors before. When I bend over to pick the guy up over my shoulder in a fireman's carry, if I've just bent over and he jumps up without me starting to lift first, then he's jumping in the air before I'm standing up. That means when I start standing up, he's coming down. Now I'm bent over. That means 200 plus pounds, whatever the fuck Tully weighs, is coming downwards on the back of my head before I've had a chance to get my legs under me and stand up, and it almost took Punk face first to the mat instead of him being able to pick Tully up. Well, then he realizes what has happened, and he's staggering, but he's trying to get under Tully because he's got to get his legs under him to pick him up because they're still off balance, and now Tully is holding on like a monkey fucking a football. And finally, he got up under him and gave Tully the go to sleep. But this is why I'm not managing either. Tully's almost 70. I'm 60. We don't need to be doing that shit. Everybody wanted to see, a legend when he's 40 or a legend when he's 50. But it comes a point, we talked about the Sheik earlier. We talk about what Vince McMahon looks like. It's not doing the memories that people have any favors when they see guys going out and being involved in these things. But anyway, so go to sleep on Tully. But right at that point, Cash rolls Punk up a 2 count. That it was a nice little false finish there, but then suddenly Punk and Moxley both just spun FTR up and hit both their finishes on both Dax and Cash at the same time. It covers simultaneously, 1, 2, 3. They beat both of them right in the middle of the ring. So again, if FTR had come in and got the Keith Lee treatment and got win after win on television a year and a half ago and established themselves as what they are, the best tag team in the business, and then won the championship, which they did, and then defeated the Young Bucks the first time around and made the Bucks chase for it, then they would have been established. But instead, they come in, they get a couple of wins, they get the belts, they're mostly on YouTube, they get beat by the Young Bucks, the EVPs, then they turn heel, the Hartley Boys do, to take FTR's place, and FTR never gets in the ring with them again because they were so jealous. I'm talking about the Hardley boys now. They were so jealous that a lot of people were saying FTR were the best in the world. They brought them in specifically to beat and bury them, and then switch heel and take their spot. And then a year later, every 3 months or so, we get to see FTR have a tag team match on television. In this case, the babyfaces beat up their manager and pin both of them cleanly in the middle of the ring at the same time. Why didn't you piss in their mouths while they were down there? It's not Punk and Moxley's fault. FTR should already be over because they should have been booked properly. And then they're a joy to work with. I'm sure everybody in the company wants to work with FTR because they know that they'll be taken care of and not get hurt and not have to go through foolish, silly cartoon bullshit. But it was a great tag team match, and Moxley was even bearable, and the finish would have been great if FTR had come in and gotten over or been pushed a year ago and now could do this and still keep their heat. But they didn't, and they weren't, so they can't. Closing thoughts on this match.
I liked it. Good way to use Moxley. Keep him out of a singles match. Put him in there with Punk. Also, a minor thing, but I like the fact that they established that Punk isn't Mr. Popularity in the dressing room. Who's he going to get to be his partner? He's getting along with Sting and Darby. We know that relationship. It's played out on TV. He has put over Moxley. He did that promo when Moxley went to rehab talking about Moxley. So it's established that he at least thinks about him and cares about him. So it makes sense that they would team up. I know it's a minor thing, but I like that when you stop and you think about it, Bill Watts style. How did these two get here? Why are they teaming up? It makes some sense. Tully shouldn't be. We've been saying it for months now. Tully shouldn't be a manager. He can't do a good promo anymore. He can't do anything physical anymore. It's almost like Jim Herd knew. The abilities are gone.
No, I was 33
I
years
know,
ago.
I'm joking. I'm
I
joking.
know.
Other than that, and with FTR, I'm happy we get to see them have matches. It is no coincidence that the guys who work with them end up having really well thought out matches that are good. I could do without the table spot in the middle of the match or even the ring bell, to be honest with you. But everyone knows what it is. They got Hogan. They got brought in by the guys looking to beat them just to shut internet fans up. Everyone knows what's up. And look, the only person that could change things is Tony Khan. And Tony Khan has, for whatever reason, been happy with the way FTR is booked. Go figure. Who knows?
Well, no, but also he can't tell anybody what to do. He has no authority because he has no balls because he's not in charge. He's the boss. He pays everybody, but he's not in charge. If he was in charge, well, if he was in charge, it wouldn't probably be any better because he doesn't know what to do. But fortunately, he's not in charge. He can't tell anybody what to do because they won't listen to him because he's a fucking mark. That's why they need a fucking authority figure that knows what to do and that gives a shit enough to tell them.
This is no way to talk about the future congressman from Florida.
Well, boy, maybe if he would run for office, then they could hire a booker. Real briefly, the TBS title was on the line. At least they're on the right network. Jane Cargill versus Aqua. Did you see this?
AQA.
Yeah, Aqua. They found some girl that looks like they kidnapped her out of a skateboard park with all the fucking frilly things she was wearing. She looks like one of the girls that hangs out at the skateboard park doing the skateboarding. Some outfit on, and she looked like she'd never been in a ring before. This actually went through a break, and the whole thing fell apart. At the end, Aqua goes up to the top, and Jane Cargill, I got to give it to her, she lays there motionless and lets this green girl do a what is it? The backflip is the shooting star press, right?
Press, correct.
Shooting star press off the top rope and landed it perfectly. She has no basics whatsoever and is greener than chlorophyll, but she can do a shooting star press. And then she goes back up to the top because that's not the finish. Goes back up to the top, loses her balance and just jumps down. Jane grabs her and shoots her off corner to corner. and she almost fell running into the far turnbuckles. Jane runs in and eats a boot and backs up for a spot, but Aqua can't remember what the spot is and just stood there. So Jane goes back into the corner and gets her, tells her what the spot is, sets her up on top of the turnbuckle, then backs up in the middle of the ring, and then fucking catches her on the crossbody coming off and hits her with a slam and 1, 2, 3. Brother. And then I don't even want to know what you thought of it. I don't care. Because then the Hardley Boys and Cole were talking in the back, and they now look bigger and tougher than Adam Cole. He is shrinking in front of our eyes. And then they come back for another match. It's 2 girls matches back to back. And this time it's Serena Deeb, who actually is an outstanding talent, in a 5-minute challenge against Katie Arquette. And Serena's heel and beat this girl in like 1 minute. They give Jane and Aqua 2 segments to stink the joint out. Serena gets another green girl and only a minute to do what she can do. And that was the women's segment. I was almost ready to turn the thing off, but I realized, wait a minute, we got a Texas death match coming up.
I thought Serena Deeb was great.
Well, she's great for a minute.
Well, they're giving her some personality. They're giving her a little bit of mic time. They're giving her a little bit of
No, they didn't give her any personality. She has it.
Well, you know what I'm saying. They're letting her display it.
Yes, and she did a good promo, and she had a good 45-second match or whatever. But again, you know, it just...
Wait, does Mike Tenay have a lawsuit? Isn't Mike Tenay the professor?
I think, well, it's going to be like a Ric Flair and Becky Lynch type of thing between Mike Tenay and Serena Deeb. I can see it coming. But anyway, I'm just saying, number one, break up the girls' matches a little bit on your formatting. And number 2, it's a good bet you can always give Serena more time than you can give Jane. Except, with these green opponents they're finding, I don't think anybody's going to do much good. But anyway, the main event. Brian, remember when we heard this announced and we said, well, why is this a Texas death match for the world title? Adam Page has never wrestled Lance Archer before. There's no long-running rivalry that this ultimate blow-off match should be booked for. It just out of nowhere, they're having a Texas death match. And we mentioned how that really didn't make a lot of sense, right?
Correct, yeah.
Well, fortunately, they didn't have a Texas death match. They billed it as such. They built it up that way for the people who might have been wanting to tune in and see a Texas death match. It would have been nice if we got one. We didn't get one. And that's, I'm like, why did they even bother to call it a Texas death match and then not do a Texas death match? They get old Sunshine Roberts in the ring, and he announces the rules of the Texas death match, and I wrote, and it's not a Texas death match. Here are the rules of the Texas death match. The only way to win is by knockout or submission. That was it. No! That is not, nor has that ever been a Texas death match. Why did they bait and switch at the last minute? Did they realize they didn't have time to do 5 or 6 or 7 falls or something to make it palatable? Or are they not smart enough to, if they don't know the rules of the Texas death match, they are easily available to look up, or they could have just said, we're going to have another garbage death match, which is what this was. The same as every other garbage death match. No better, no worse, no different. Same shit, different people. There was no Texas death match involved. And all the other droning on of these long-winded promos on this show, and they leave enough time to where their main event world championship match starts in the back. They play Lance Archer's music, and they cut to a backstage camera, and they've already started fighting. And they rattle each other off the equipment cases, and then they fight through the entrance, and Page throws Archer through a pane of glass If you didn't see it the first time, folks, they're going to replay it, including the shot where conveniently there was a camera standing behind the pane of glass so you could see the guy come through it. The fuck, these fucking... I would have fired everybody in the everybody on the television crew, everybody that set the building up. I would have fired the building manager. I would have fired the fans individually. So they finally get into the ring, and Page hits the buckshot lariat, and Archer takes a bump to the floor and pulls out a garbage can lid. And when Page does the dive, he hits Page in the head with a garbage can lid and then hits him with it 8 more times. Suddenly, here comes Dan Lambert, who comes out and unscrews the turnbuckle and takes the top rope off of the ring. Now, Jake Roberts is already out there with Archer. Lambert came out after they've got the deal going on with them. So now Archer and Page go out and fight on the floor and out into the crowd. While Jake is wandering around, Archer's already bleeding from going through the glass. This is every garbage death match that this promotion and every other promotion besides the WWF does every fucking week, every show. You got a Texas death match that's not a Texas death match with no reason and no build to it. That's now turned into every garbage outlaw match ever with a non-functioning ring so they can't work if they want to. And then we go to the break. After we come back from the break, we're back to a ring with no top rope, which also has a garbage can, 2 kendo sticks, and 2 tables set up outside, with both guys fighting on the apron, teasing that they're going to fall through the table. Well, that might be exciting if we hadn't seen it 45 minutes ago. You fucking morons. You fucking imbeciles. You don't have a goddamn lick of common sense. You don't know how to structure anything. You're pathetic. You sleep in filth and you eat garbage.
What is this?
I'm starting to get worked up. So now Archer pulls up the pads on the floor, and Jake gives the short arm clothesline to Page and manages not to fall over. But then Jake hooks Page up for a DDT on the concrete floor that Archer has moved the pads, but Archer stops him. And Jake turns around and gets hot. And then Page DDTs Archer on the concrete floor with no pads. But the match continues, because that's not going to hurt anybody. Doesn't even make any sense in their own world. That doesn't make sense. Then Page gets one of the kendo sticks and just wears fucking Archer out. And at this point, there's still 5 minutes left in the show. And Archer goes out and tosses 4 more chairs into the ring, and then pulls out a chair wrapped in barbed wire from under because that was, I guess, one of the fans said, hey, I can't sit in this chair. It's wrapped in barbed wire. So they took that up and threw it under the ring. As soon as the chair wrapped in barbed wire came in, and Page I'm not mad at Juice in a grudge match, but this is a garbage death outlaw match. So I was done. It's hot garbage.
Oh, you didn't see the fork?
They used a fork.
Oh, he went all Abdullah the Butcher, Lance Archer, stabbing violently, quickly, Page in the head. And at that point, I said, oh my God, I hope TBS isn't watching. And then they did a close-up of him licking the fork.
Oh, good. So what you're saying is in 10 years, when another wrestling promoter wants to get on TBS, they will have the tape of this in their office, the program director, like I talked about the guy in Cincinnati having the Sheik's tape when Jerry Jarrett wanted to get television, and they'll say, no, this is why pro wrestling will never be on my fucking television station again. It's going to happen again in a few years, and they'll use this tape as the example. No, as soon as the barbed wire wrapped chair came out, I can't take this anymore. I don't know why I've invested as much of my time in this. If you didn't see this every week in every promotion, it would get over. We talked about it with the Sheik. But now it's just, and actually it wouldn't get over like the Sheik did, because at least his shit made sense in terms of he's trying to hurt other people instead of just do stunts for no reason. But this is marks entertaining themselves with the imitating, Abdullah the Butcher with the fork, and doing all these spots and stunts. The marks are in the ring now. The marks are not in the seats. The marks are in the ring, and they're entertaining themselves, and they're entertaining potentially their core audience that, for whatever reason, doesn't get tired of this shit over and over. But this is why the audience never grows. It'll be down to 400,000 or 500,000 on one of those rotten Friday night shows, and it'll be up to 1.2 million when they tease that Shane McMahon may show up, and it'll be somewhere in the middle every other time. And it's never going to grow with it. Who wants to watch this stupid shit? It doesn't mean anything. It makes no difference. It's obviously fucking phony. And the guys are really hurting themselves. All because they're all marks, and they think that they're doing what the real stars 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 and however many years ago did. They're not. They're out there doing stunts that don't make sense, and they're entertaining themselves and their mark billionaire boy boss with garbage. So that was that match. I missed the fork. I guess Page won. He had to, right? Or we'd have a new champion.
Page won. He is still the champion. And if I could just say one final thought about this show, to focus on a positive. They teased Punk at the beginning. We got a payoff later in the show. Makes you want to tune back into the show later. If we tuned in last week, we got no update or anything about Bryan Danielson. Moxley was out there.
Where is he, by the way?
I have no idea. But last week, him and Moxley were going to put together a group, and Moxley was going to consider it, and this week, not one mention of him. Cody Rhodes, once again, a few weeks of Cody Rhodes, and then weeks of he's missing off TV. Not even Brandy to follow up on whatever it was that they were trying to do with Lambert and her last week. And Miro is just missing in action. Still lost in the void. The godless void, I guess.
Now, yeah, and here's another thing. A lot of the AEW apologists are again going to say, well, they've got so much talent, they can't put everybody on television. You don't understand because you've never written television, you idiots out there saying that, because you're all goddamn morons. You don't have something happen and then never refer to it again on your television program, or don't refer to it again for the next 6 weeks. There's all kinds of ways that you don't have to have everybody out there doing a live interview. You don't have to have everybody wrestle every week. But you could replace some of these inane job guy backstage segments with Tony Schiavone, or the fake girls fights that they have in the back, or the fake fights among men like the Hardley Boys that fight like girls. Knock out all of those fake backstage segments and do updates on your issues with the people that are not appearing live on the program. And in next week, those people can appear live, and you can do some video updates on some of the people that was live on this week's program. But you keep your stars constantly appearing because that's how they get over, and you minimize the time that people like the Puddin' Gang and the mascots and the job girls take up on your program, because that's useless and counterproductive. And nobody gives two shits whether Jane Cargill beats Aqua in 90 seconds or 10 minutes, except the viewers. They'd rather the 90 seconds, because that way there wouldn't be time for so many fuck-ups. But he's all over the place. He's got ADD. He doesn't know how to do this because he never has to begin with, and nobody apparently can tell him that. So you've got a goddamn mess, and you have a bunch of people doing whatever they want to do, and the talented people, what they want to do is good, and the goofy outlaw people, what they want to do is the shits. So this show's all over the fucking page, and they cannot get their shit together to save their life. And here is Vince McMahon and everybody working for him, trying to hand them the victory in this promotional war. Here, take all the talent you want. Here, we're going to piss our fans off as much as possible. Make them hate us and pull for you even more. Here, we're going to do all this stuff for you. They can't take advantage of it. Holy shit.
But seriously, going back to my question, you could talk about the problems and why it doesn't happen. Is there any good reason? I mean, Miro's kind of been in the void for a while, so we don't know if he'll ever come back to reality. But Brandy and Cody, Nothing is followed up on.
I didn't answer your question because I don't know the answer, because it doesn't make sense to people with functioning brains and logic and common sense. It's just, he's playing with his action figures, booking them in his basement like he was when he was a teenager. And his father was only worth $750 million instead of $3 billion or whatever the fuck. Now he can buy his own action figures, and he has, again, this could have been a transformative promotion in the wrestling industry. This could have set wrestling back on a path of being a competitive looking sport and given guys that needed an opportunity a place to go and competed with Vince McMahon on the national television, etc. And what it is a giant circle jerk for marks that don't understand the wrestling business and think that they're stars. And the biggest mark is the kid that's paying for everything, that insists on running it himself, even though he's never done it and has no experience and obviously can't figure it out, and either won't take advice or nobody's got the balls to tell him. It's a fucking mess. And now that it's not just a joke, now that there's real talent there, now they've got CM Punk, they got MJF, they've got fucking Bryan Danielson, they've got several top quality talents on that roster. It's even more offensive to me that he's still doing this indie looking outlaw bullshit instead of really getting their shit together and trying to hire a booker, establish a better training system, dump the fucking dreck off that roster, fire the goddamn asses right now. They have milked you for enough money over the last 2+ years. These outlaw fucks that nobody wanted to book to goddamn walk a dog. Sonny Kiss. Cut them. Get them out of there. Weed it out. Find somebody to fucking book, or a committee of experienced people to book for you. Jim Ross is involved there. What am I saying? He don't want to be involved in this thing probably at all anymore. But somebody with some experience that tells these guys what to fucking do and how to do it and where to get off if they don't do it, and concentrate on top talent. Run a real professional fucking show. Not a goddamn, hey kids, let's put on a show in our local barn. It's Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland, and we'll let everybody play. Fuck you. I'm getting sick of this. They got a chance to really do something here, and they cannot wind their watch or scratch their ass to do it. That's all I've got to say on it. I'm just pissed.
That was AEW Dynamite.
Anyway, we'll see what happens next week. And speaking of next week, on the Drive-Thru, which we're doing in about 36 hours, we will see if SmackDown and Rampage has anything interesting on it, plus some more questions from the audience and songs and all kinds of joy and frivolity. And then we'll be back here next week for me to bitch at these people again, because I guarantee you they ain't going to figure it out between now and next week.
You never know. I'm not saying they're going to figure it out, but every now and then they have that one episode. It's like, wow, they got it all right. Let's see what they do next week. And then it falls off a cliff again.
I've come to the conclusion those are the accidental ones.